We're live. Hello, video world. We're back, baby. Okay.
Back again with a bang.
Okay, let me see. Intro. Do I have a good intro? Yes, I do. Let's go.
Oh shit, what's my intro? I did have one, actually. One tick. We're professionals here. I got the got the notification on my watch. Just tradition these days. Yes, I did have a good one.
Alrighty.
Okay, give me 5 seconds. Okay. We good to go?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. I'm ready. A 3 and a 2 and a 1. Hello and welcome to episode 154 of the Naked Tech Podcast. It's the show that gives you everything you need to know about consumer tech, the internet, and all things widgets in jiggle mode. I'm your friend Jeff Kim.
My name is Calvin Lee, and today's episode might involve ASMR.
Dude, and I'm just gonna scratch my microphone
Here's
cover.
here's a pop quiz for you, Jeff. Which episode did we cover ASMR?
It's pretty early. I'm gonna say in the first year, I'm gonna go for 23.
Episode 4.
4.
Episode
Wow.
4. Guess what else we spoke about in episode 4 of the Lazy Couch podcast, also now known as the Naked Tech podcast?
I have no idea.
We spoke about the Dell Venue 8 7840 for some reason.
Okay.
Don't even know what that is anymore. You review The Interview, and I reviewed Kingsman: The Secret Service.
That's 2015.
4th of
Early part of 2015.
4th of February 2015.
Okay. The Kingsman. So that's the first Kingsman.
Yeah.
That's how far back that was. Okay, we've had 2 since then.
And we had like 15 stories from the Asian Cup finals to Google Now opening up to third parties. We spoke about Monument Valley when it first came out. And an update on my favorite movie, this is sarcasm, Jurassic World. And
Okay.
we also...
Well, I'm gonna guess we didn't talk about iOS 14 back in 2015.
No. So I'm looking
Which
for...
iOS was it?
We'll never
8.
know. 8, let's call it 8.
We'll never know.
Yeah, let's kick off today's show.
So I've got a bit of news. Yes. So can I do a quick review of my experience with the beta?
Yes, please.
It's a bit of a big deal, I guess. So yes, as you may know, iOS 14 was announced at WWDC. It is now available to the public as a public beta. It's mostly for devs, but I thought I'd give it a go. So, I did back it up as recommended by everyone. But I don't think that was necessary even because it's running fine. I'm quite happy with it. So maybe I'll just go through some of my experience with that in case you're wondering whether you should or not. We're on beta 4 at the moment. 5 is quite imminent. On the screen there, you've got a article on how you can install it yourself. For me, it took about 2 hours, and of course, I'm on a pretty slow connection. It didn't quite say how big the file was, but I'm going to guess like over 2 gigs. But the whole process took 2 hours. I've had it for probably about 3 days now. All the apps are working fine. At least they're loading and functioning as they should so far, knock on wood. I've had some weird things though, like there's some of the image previews might be missing on Twitter. I've seen like icons go missing in the share sheets. So iOS 13 does a pretty good job of like share sheets. If you want to share like a link to your WhatsApp peeps, then you can like do that in your share sheet directly. There are no third-party widgets, which is a little bit disappointing right now. So hopefully they'll come on board soon. So I don't think it's because Apple are blocking them. I think it just the developers just haven't created widgets yet. But I am loving the stack widget. So this is the wider view you can do, but you can sort of like scroll on the widget itself to see 5 different kinds of widgets, all Apple widgets. My favorite being the featured photo. And Kelvin, I think was it last night I sent you that screenshot of the one that came up?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's the you had the picture in picture there in your screenshot. Is that iOS 14 or was
Yeah,
that available before that? No, right? It's all iOS 14.
that is 14. Yes. So I think yeah, that's another one which was I think you messaged me on Messenger,
Hmm.
but I was watching a NRL game at the same time on my phone, so I was able to still watch the game on a little picture in picture, but still message you in Messenger. So I thought that was cool. But the featured photo, like you can see that once you go into the Photos app, but like just having it on your home screen is like there's something powerful in that because Apple actually does a pretty good job at you know getting your maybe picking at your heartstrings with like something memorable or like I think in this case it was like you over at my place with a couple of other dudes and all holding their newlyborns, and that was like a really cool photo.
Yeah,
um
no, I think that's a great feature. Yeah, I
mm,
think Google has been a bit hit and miss with its Google Photos AI recently. I'm not sure if you realized it, but the videos they're making, the surprises they're giving you based on, they used to do a really good job in, highlighting certain colors or photos and things like that and showing that to you.
mm.
It hasn't been doing that well for me recently. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same, but definitely not as powerful as what I'm seeing from your Google featured photo.
Yeah, Apple certainly has a more personal touch, I think, so you're probably on the right track there. I think Google Photos is probably a different kind of app. It's more for like what happened 1 year ago or 3 years ago.
Hmm.
More, I don't know, systematic in that very cold Google way. And we're going to touch on some of those things in this later in this episode. A couple other quick things. Um, only had to reboot it once because like it just kind of slowed down
Hmm.
to a non-usable manner. The battery drains, I think, slightly faster, but like there's no real science behind that. It's just something I've experienced. All these things will be nutted out before the gold standard comes out, and the actual thing probably drops October, I would say, a couple of months away. But like I think they've done a pretty good job. Some subtle things, but obviously the widgets is the sort of the killer feature of this update. Picture in pictures, I think people will love as well.
Great. That's good news. Would you recommend that people try this?
I don't. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't see any reason that you're not gonna like. I don't play Fortnite or anything. Another hint to later in the episode, but like anything CPU heavy like that. But like from what I've seen, the apps all run smoothly. There's no degradation except for those random images going missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about Fortnite.
Yes. Ooh, Fortnite, Epic Games.
Hmm.
Having a bit of a battle royale against Apple and Google at the moment, but mostly Apple. Just to set this up, I'm gonna have Tom Merritt, in his very special way, explain what has happened in the last week.
Epic offered an alternative to pay for in-app currency directly to Epic for $7.99 while leaving the Apple and Google options in the app at $9.99. This, of course, violated two policies in both stores because both stores require developers to use their own payment systems, and both stores prohibit server-side updates of this type that circumvent App Store reviews.
Yes, so sorry to back it right up. I guess yeah, this kind of happened out of nowhere. They pushed a couple of updates out without the review of the app stores, and that change was basically a payment model. So, if you have in-app purchases within the App Store, then you have to go through Apple's review system, and that 30% famous 30% cut goes to Apple. I think it does go to Google as well. Is that right,
That's right.
Kelvin? The 30%.
Google does take a cut.
Um, that's right. So two things they circumvented there. Um, and yeah, so they're saying if you go outside of the Apple system, then it's going to cost you $7.99. So I don't exactly. Is that a subscription? I think Fortnite has a subscription model, perhaps. But yeah, or $9.99 if you go through
That's
Apple's
right.
App Store. So
So
yeah.
Fortnite, for everyone who doesn't know, is a huge battle royale game, and what you do is you pay for a season pass, where whenever there's a new
Mm.
outfit for your character or new game content, you get that first. So you pay that monthly. Um, this is interesting. I think Fortnite is big enough
Mm-hmm.
to actually get the movement happening. I remember Samsung Galaxy had the exclusive before Fortnite came to Android. So I'm wondering where Samsung comes into this, because Samsung could easily say, "Hey, why don't you come to Tizen and we could build something together?" I think that's
Well, let's hold that thought for a
okay.
minute because there's a few things that's happening. I'm going to try to set this up. Let's sort of play by play account of what's been going
Mm-hmm.
on. So yeah, so the next thing was that, well, Apple's like, well, obviously this is not cool. They dropped Fortnite from the App Store pretty much that day. Sent out a statement saying, hey, Tim Sweeney, Epic Games, we're very disappointed in you. Like you shouldn't be doing this. Just like a very strict teacher. Um, and then the next day, people expected Epic to respond, but perhaps not in this manner. And I'm gonna get Data Bone give you an account of that.
They knew he was going to do something. I don't know that he was going to release a shot-for-shot remake of Apple's 1984 ad fighting against the evil corporate monopolist that they were going to try and break.
For years they have given us their sons, their labor, their dreams.
All right, so that's a bit of a soundbite from that 1984 ad, and you've got the screen there as well. So I think you're familiar with that famous
Yes.
ad from 1984 Super Bowl. So that was, Apple going against the big players. I think at the time probably IBM, saying that, yeah, like we're the underdogs and we're gonna come out swinging and beat the big dogs. Right now, Apple is about the biggest dog there is. So roles have somewhat reversed. So I guess what the whole point of this is that Epic have somehow orchestrated this fight. And it must have been brewing, and they're also timing it with a lot of the other things that are happening with Apple right now, like the antitrust that we talked about last week. So Epic have also, actually, I have a clip. Tom Merritt's going to explain this part.
Epic then filed a civil antitrust suit claiming Apple is acting in an anti-competitive fashion in its app distribution and app payment markets. Epic says in its filing that it does not want money or special treatment, but is seeking injunctive relief to allow fair competition for all developers.
Yeah, so basically all the stuff that we talked about last episode, Epic taking advantage of that, of the situation. And this is a totally orchestrated thing. I don't think anyone's ever seen this before, not to this scale.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and what do you think the outcome will be, though?
Well, there is I put another link in the notes. I can't remember the dude's name, but he writes for 9 to 5 Mac. He's got, I think, 4 scenarios that could play out. I guess, like both companies are probably big enough to take a bit of a hit in this. Like, so, okay, Epic can't, or Fortnite can't get revenue from the App Store. Is that big enough of a deal? I think this feels more of a battle for the hearts and minds of the public more than anything else.
No, I agree. I think Fortnite can take this hit. They've got millions of players on console and PC. I think it's worth the fight. If I was Epic, I definitely take this to Apple, because 30% is a huge cut of their hard-earned money.
Yeah, and just going back to Samsung, so the Samsung store is still available. So if you're on a Samsung phone, you can play, but still running Android, you can use the Samsung store to do that. In fact, Microsoft encourages you to do that from their statements. So this is the other side of things. This is a play against Apple and Google only. They're not going after Microsoft or Sony.
Anyone
So
who
the
doesn't have a good
30%.
app store, basically.
Well, I mean, Oh, okay. Well, I guess how does Xbox console stores work? They still take 30% cuts
I
as
think
well. Okay.
they do, but I think they probably allow different payment systems to also flow through. If not, why wouldn't Epic be going
So it
after
might
them
not be
as well?
exclusive.
Yeah, it might not be exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll look into that. I mean, the other side of things is that Epic Games is owned by Tencent, or sorry, 40% owned by Tencent. So they might
Mm.
be, okay, hey, is there a China angle here? The whole Trump versus China at the moment. But I think Tom Merritt did say that Tim Sweeney, who's the CEO and the founder, he still has full control of the company. He has the majority share. So I don't know. This is a very interesting thing. It's kind of funny in a way. Like it does feel like a bit of a playground fight. Hey, I'm the big dog here. No, I'm the big dog. You're gonna listen to me, but like you said, like what is the goal? What is the end game here? Like no one can really tell.
Yeah, I the end game that I want to see out is obviously not the end game that will pan out. Is Apple just goes, it's probably time for us to offer iOS users a better reason to use our payment system rather than
Hmm.
just being the only choice. I think Apple has, some of the best designers in the business. They could easily say, "Hey, you know what? Sign up for an Apple Card, and you get 5% of all app purchases," and that would even the game a little bit.
Okay, so they're gonna get a share of the market by introducing new ecosystems on top of their existing ecosystems.
Yeah, because they're doing it right now, right? If you get an Apple Card, you get 5% of all Apple purchases if you use the
Mm,
Apple Card in the US, and keep doing that. I think
yeah.
I want to see all my, my transactions in one. They're doing such great things with sign in with Apple, where it's so much more secure than signing in with your email address. So give users a choice and a reason to support your services and not force them down a particular route. That will probably do you
Mm.
good in the long run.
Yeah, interesting take there, Kelvin, because the other rumor that's been going around is this Apple One deal, which is kind
Mm.
of like the Google One thing. So like the Apple One bundle. So imagine you pay one subscription fee for Apple Music,
Hmm.
iCloud storage, Apple TV Plus, all the Apple services.
And I think that has legs because what I'm seeing on Reddit at the moment is there's a real move to move off Google services. And people are trying different things. Like instead of Gmail, they're using Proton Mail. Instead of Google Drive, they're using Dropbox. Obviously, the most notable things that you can't deviate from is YouTube and Gmail for a lot of people. Um, but I think it can happen, and I think this is a great play by Apple.
Yeah. So watch this space. We'll probably track this one going forward. What fight do we want to cover next?
Ding ding! I say we take Google versus all the media outlets in Australia.
Doi. Yes, open letter.
Mm.
So if you've been on the internet as Australians, hey Australia, have you been on the internet today and yesterday? You would have seen this thing come up on google.com as well as YouTube. You can't really dismiss it. I mean, you can dismiss it, but it'll pop up. It's a persistent pop up, is it not? So who wrote this? This is the managing director, Mel Silver.
Hmm.
Have you heard of her?
Yes, I think we spoke about her
Okay.
when she first got the job. It was quite a high
Ah,
profile move into the role.
yeah. So we have talked about this a couple of times in the past. So the media uh, companies, Australian media companies, have lobbied against the with the government to bring up this bargaining code called the News Media Bargaining Code. And I guess they're basically saying, hey, for the privilege of Google to link to our websites, Google needs to pay us more of a fee. Basically, that's it. Google have come out swinging, and they're saying, well, as soon as we undermine the way that the Google algorithm works, this is going to change, like fundamentally change the experience of Google users. Yes. Well, what are your initial thoughts there, Kelvin?
So the obviously the politicians here are backing the media outlets because it's a good story, right? To chase the big tech companies for more money. It's the same take I had when this story first started coming out. Is Google could easily switch off all the traffic to these outlets and they would suffer anyway. So, what is the end game here? I mean, they're not doing well. Media outlets have been doing poorly for a while now. So they're trying to get some money out of this as quickly as possible. And to me, it's sort of like in the US where it's a bailout. I see this as a bailout by these companies to try and get some more money from Google. But think about all the traffic they're already getting from Google. What will happen then? So I'm not quite sure
Mm.
what the end game is for them.
For Google.
And no, for the media outlets. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Google could easily switch this off. So what happens then? Can you imagine a world for newspapers without Google?
I mean, for the media outlets, I think it's really to survive, right? That's the end game for them. They're bleeding a lot, especially. I mean, they can't rely on print media.
Mm,
A lot of these media outlets also own magazines and stuff, but like, do we still get magazines? Apple also provide a platform for digital magazines and whatnot. So all of this, everything is digital. Um, Advertising on these printed printed or digital news websites is dwindling. That's fact. That's been going on for the
mhm.
last probably 20 years. Um, However, Google, yeah, gives them the eyeballs just by indexing them. So you're right. So in Spain, they have already this thing has already happened in Spain and
That's
other
right.
parts of Europe, I believe. But and in the end, they weren't getting any eyeballs as a result of Google de-indexing those sites. So they made another agreement to put those links back in the search results. So
Yeah,
this it could happen again. I think you can almost guarantee it.
yeah. And I want the media outlets to focus on the one thing they've been doing well since the beginning of time, and that is make great content. You've got the AFR and the Australian who are, paywalls essentially. And what Google does is it allows you to index the intro to that story. So you still get to see the story that you're linking to, but to access the story, you pay money for that. I think that's an option. But obviously the paywalls haven't been working because majority of people aren't interested in good journalism. They just want headlines. They just want to be able to talk to their friends about it. But I
Mm,
think that's the opportunity that's being missed here. You don't want that traffic. You don't want people to click on the ads on your newspaper. You want to write great content, pay your journalists the money they deserve, and get good content out there. The other missing point in this is you're not just fighting Sydney Morning Herald and all these local publishers and big media houses. You're fighting for eyeballs on YouTube and podcasts and other newspapers all over the world. The only thing that's
mm,
differentiating you from everything else is good content. Spend your time in that. Hire the right people. Train the right people. Don't spend and waste your resources on pointless battles like this with the likes of Google and things like that because it's a people will appreciate good content is where I'm getting at, and that's where they should focus
mm.
their efforts on.
So let me ask you a couple of things there. So would you consider something like this good content where basically the website is 50% full of banner ads? That would be an example of not good content.
No.
Um, and even still, like if the publishers think they can generate ad revenue from that, just blast users with
Hmm.
banner ads, most people are using ad blockers.
Absolutely. The other model I think was worth looking into is, we're fans of the No Agenda show and they take donations to the value you think is worth donating to based on how much content you consume from them. So The Guardian does this. The Guardian asks for donations and the last financial year they actually broke even.
Mm,
So it is workable. I think there are people who want to pay for good content. They recognize the work and the effort that goes into it. It's just a huge change for the big media publishers to focus on their content, focus on their readers, getting to know their readers, getting to know their communities, and actually asking for donations and not blasting your website with ads. It's such a
Yeah.
foreign concept to them to try and get money that isn't advertising related.
They need to be like tinkering with the business model, right? And maybe there's a certain level of risk with doing that because they know the ad business so well, right? And their revenue has been mostly from ads, whether it's digital or not. So like I wonder, like let's put our consultant hats on, the
Oh,
consulting arm of the Naked Tech podcast for media companies. I would suggest, hey, like, why don't you set up a like an accelerator type situation, like just a small team just punching out, something unique, something different that might catch the eye of your consumers, and let's see if that sticks. Maybe it's a subscription model, but like with very unique content.
I think
Why don't
I
they do
think
this?
I think that's a great idea. I think if the banks are willing to start up innovation arms to say, "Hey,
Hmm.
how do we be, more attractive to millennials? How do we be more attractive to the older population? Why shouldn't the publications be doing this? Like, why do they deserve all this help from the government just because they're media publishers and they're old companies?"
Mm.
So I think like, get onto Insta Reels, get onto Snapchat, get onto TikTok, try something different, figure those things
Maybe
out.
not TikTok.
Maybe not TikTok, or but yeah, I like where your head is going.
Yep. So this is actually a very good segue because I did have a clip on Reels, and I was listening to MKBHD's Waveform podcast, and last week he had Chris Cox on the show. So I don't know if you caught that.
Yep.
He is a product manager for Facebook in general, but I think heading up Reels as well. So Reels is Facebook's copycat feature of
TikTok
TikTok,
killer.
essentially. I think it might actually be. We've seen that stories is basically from Snapchat or Snap, and look at Snap now.
Yeah.
So TikTok is teetering on the edge. What is Trump going to do? Is Microsoft going to bail them out? We're not quite sure. We have talked about that in the past, but Zuck being Zuck, and I stand by the theory of him being almost the smartest man on earth. Whether he's evil or not is another story. He's still very smart. He's taken this opportunity to put this feature onto Reels. Again, it ties into all the antitrust we talked about last week,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just the state of things. So here's Chris Cox talking about Reels, but he's actually answering the question about what. Well, this is a part of Instagram. What is Instagram really about?
When we look at Instagram, at the base layer, it's really about creating culture. It's about, the creative, expressive power that Instagram has brought folks from the very beginning.
Creating culture, really.
They need to
Do you
work on
honestly
that.
think the employees drink that Kool-Aid? Come on. I thought that was outlandish. I mean, like, maybe that is the internal vision. Who knows?
Doesn't even sound like good English. Like, we're all
Yeah,
about the creating culture. Aren't you about the culture of creating creators? Anyway. Yeah, let's put on our consulting hats again. Uh, and tell them to work on that because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Um, Instagram is not about the creating. Well, it's about sharing stories, right? I mean, look at Honey, look at Humans of New York. Like, those stories always get me, and I think they got to work on that message. That doesn't feel right. But having said that,
What
I
about all
think
those dogs, cute dogs, like
those cats
gallivanting in the Swiss Alps? The fit
exactly.
girls in doing the fit girl things.
Yeah,
Anyway, my search page on or explore page on Instagram is I can't believe it. It's an
no,
interesting exercise to do if you're around with friends and go through the explore page. I
don't.
highly recommend it.
Don't. It's so bad and wrong, and all the wrong people are trending on Instagram, and
Mm.
it's Instagram will soon have to fix that because it's borderline pornography on Instagram, and I don't know how they're gonna deal with it.
Well, if it's about culture, maybe cultural appropriation as well.
Yeah.
But going back to the news media outlet angles. yes, experiment on that platform, right?
Mm.
There's no ad framework there just yet, but you can almost guarantee it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like the last few days on Instagram, I think I've spent the most time on Reels. It
So
is like, yeah, TikTok is, it's addictive. I haven't really been on it, but that's what everyone says. You could just like mindlessly just go through video after video, portrait mode. But that's what Reels is. Yeah, go on.
so tell people how to get onto Reels because I think this can be a little bit confusing. It's not a
Mm,
separate app on its own. It's in the app itself.
no. So if you're following someone that posting Reels, it's gonna come up on your main feed. That's one way to get it. Or if you go to explore, then you'll see, Reels from randoms, people that you don't follow. So there's a bit of curation happening there. Um, one thing TikTok has an advantage over Reels at the moment is like the algorithm is really great
Mhm.
from all reports. So like say you spent like 5 minutes on TikTok, like TikTok's gonna know what you're interested in straight away. Um, it doesn't look like that's happening in Reels just yet, but they've been around for 5 minutes, so
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Now, on to the last part of the show. This is where the ASMR kicks in. For those who don't know, ASMR is a phenomenon where people
What does it
are.
stand?
Oh, I don't remember. It's about people using anything to make sounds on YouTube or podcasts, and people find it comforting and find it, I don't know, like a warm hug. Park that for a minute. Keep that thought in your head. I wanted to share something that I received last week from work. And it's this big thing over here. So this is the 2019, I don't know if I can see it on Twitch, everybody. This is the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. And I thought I wanted to talk a bit about what the experience has been using this. I know there's been a 2020 refresh, but a lot of that is just internal specs. The form factor is still the same. It's still got the new keyboard. It's still got the touch bar. Um, Previously to this, I had the MacBook Air. So the first thing that really is noticeable is the size and the weight. This thing is quite big. I can barely fit it into my bag that was designed for a MacBook Air. I tried to just stuff it in there. Um, I find the touch bar extremely annoying. I tap that uh, sort of by accident more often than not. I'm trying to sort of find ways to use it. So it is my main work machine. I spend a lot of time on browsers and Outlook, obviously. There are some useful features in
Mhm.
Outlook for the touch bar, things like switching between the calendar and the email program. But I still don't see what the use case is. I'm not sure if you have any insights into that. I find it more annoying than helpful. Um, the screen, though, it is amazing. It's bright, it's clear, it's so color accurate. It's just a joy to work with. Even when I don't have my second screen, I'm more than happy to work on this screen. Um, the other thing that's a real pro are their speakers. I had them sitting beside my bookshelf speakers that I have here from Edifier, and for the
Mhm.
mids and the lows, I could barely tell the difference. The only big difference that my bookshelf speakers have is the bass, obviously, because coming out of that thing, you're never going to get that level of bass, but still amazing
I'm
speakers.
really hanging for the ASMR angle
Yeah.
here, by the way.
Okay.
But go
I'm
on.
almost done. Keyboard is just better. I'm still not impressed.
So this is the butterfly keyboards,
I think
the old.
they're back to scissors, right? These are scissors. That's right.
Oh, okay.
So away with the broken butterfly switches that I had to use in my MacBook Air to these new
Ah,
scissor
okay.
ones. Like there is a lot more travel, but I still had to adjust from using a mechanical keyboard here and the old laptop that I had. I I was messing up for like hours. I've got it used to it now, but it's still not perfect. Trackpad is amazing, just like all Macs. Windows PCs have um, no sort of no competitor for that. Now, I know I've been spieling a bit about the Mac, and is this quite possibly the best work laptop you can get? I'm gonna let Linus sort of answer that question before we move on to the last bit, which is the ASMR.
When Apple dropped the MacBook Pro 16-inch, there was just nothing really in the PC world that compared to it. Like, sure, we had stuff that was way more powerful, or lighter, or with longer battery life, but there was no laptop in existence that compared as an all-rounder that I could point at and be like, there, PC peeps, just go buy that one. Until today. Right out of the gate, the XPS 15 and 17 mean business.
Business.
Yeah, so we'll leave that video in the show notes. If you're a PC user, definitely check out the Dell XPSs. They look amazing. But I think it's still majorly influenced by this machine sitting in the back right here. So, there's a lot to be, a lot of credit has to go to Apple for creating these laptops. If not, the PC laptop market would be rubbish, trust me. Should you get this? I've watched a couple of reviews on this machine, and I'm going to agree with MKBHD here and recommend that you go for the MacBook Pro 13-inch that just got refreshed. It is a large machine to be carrying around, so depending on your use case. But I think for most people, the 13-inch will do. Now, there's one thing you noticed about my MacBook Pro if you're watching us on Twitch, and it's sticker free, and I feel like that is wrong. So, what do I have here? Got our sticker.
Hey.
And I'm going to see if I can peel this off and in the microphone and create some sort of ASMR effect for people who like stickers. So here we go. Let's see. Okay, so I don't think it's good enough because probably NVIDIA is cutting off all the sound. But I'm going to see if I can figure this sticker thing out. This is probably the worst.
I'm just readying myself here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, okay. Damn it. Shouldn't have cut my nails. Okay. You know what? I think it's too soft. But anyway, the point is...
Ooh, I could hear some
yeah.
of it.
Hope you all enjoyed that for those people who are into ASMRs.
Here's my
Yes.
laptop situation.
There you go. I'm going to put it in the same
There we go.
location where you have yours. So this is right here. There you go. It is officially no longer a new laptop. It is now property of the Naked Tech podcast. On that note, we hope you enjoyed episode 154. And if you're asking the same question that everyone's asking at the moment is how do I score these stickers? Reach out to us on any of the social networks and tell us what you think about the show. And I will send you a sticker because it's cool and it's actually really high quality. Don't forget to check out the website for all other 153 other episodes on nakedtechpodcast.com. That's Calv out.
And Jeff out. Autonomous sensory meridian response, Kelvin.
Yeah, who forgets that?
Yeah. Rolls off the tongue.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've come full circle.
I know.
Episode 4.
54.
We've only 150 episodes in between.
Oh my god.
We've done this like 150 times.
That was in 2015, so it's been
Probably a couple times more than
Yeah.
that, yeah.
only a few mess ups along the way. I mean, when it comes to putting episodes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
200. Can you imagine 200? Do we put the bat up? Good analogy. Retire.
I say I
retire?
think we'll pivot. I think we'll pivot to something else.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
we'll be Insta-real
Stay tuned.
podcasters, Insta-real influencers. I don't know.
Maybe we can actually be consultants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can fix a lot of problems. Hey, call us.
Yeah, well,
You get a sticker.
what should we call the company? 200?
It's like if you see someone with that sticker, you know they've been touched by the brilliance of the Naked Tech podcast consulting arm.
Yeah, and I will hug you if it's allowed in a few years.
Yeah, if it's legal, God, yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching us on Twitch and YouTube, guys. It's been great. See you at the next one.